Hey guys, welcome to What the Flick, Better Call Saul, Season 3, Episode 6, Off-Brand. I'm Meredith. Alonso, who also did the Meredith wave thing. I really appreciate that.
Well, you know, you were introing. I had to fill in somewhere.
Man, this was such a good episode.
Oh, so many things.
Holy cow. First off, Nacho. More Nacho. Finally, more Nacho.
And you know, I love the depiction of somebody who hates his job and has a shitty boss and can't say anything about it, but it's all in the.
And just like the line of sight of that shot where you'd see the drug dealers come in, Nacho, and then with Hector just behind him, just reading the sports section of the newspaper. I was like
judgy judge back there, yeah.
And we get our crazy 8 scene.
Oh God, I'm just gonna gouge this sewing needle into my hand.
Oh, I know. Well, when Crazy 8 came into play, and then so you see Hector like, are you gonna let him? Like, really, who's in charge?
Yeah.
No, everyone's
fine.
Yeah, so it was a good start, but the rest of the episode was.
Slippin' Jimmy is back.
not just Slippin' Jimmy.
Saul Goodman. Saul Goodman makes his first appearance. I know, it's an origin story. Yes. How about that?
I didn't expect it to go down like that.
Yeah, it's funny that it would just be this weird like alter ego he has to make up just to unload some TV time. And thank you for pointing out that if you actually call the phone number, you get a recorded message.
Seriously, guys, call 505-842-5662 and it gives you a Saul Goodman Productions number, and it's really like the voicemail is really cute. I like it.
I love when the crew shows up. Like, you know, they've been sort of periodically appearing. Just that boom mic out the window of that tiny car, you know, schlepping around Albuquerque and trying to get these things happening. So yeah, and like Chuck clearly is just not getting any better.
No, this is the season of people not letting go.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think Jimmy I think seems willing to let go with Chuck to an extent, but really Chuck is now like out for blood.
Yeah.
And that whole scene with you know, his partner over at the law firm, and he comes over and Chuck's
Howard.
Like, Howard, and then he pulls out the tape player and holds the battery, and I'm like, come on, Chuck, like, are you gonna overcome your mental illness just to screw with Jimmy?
I did love, I mean, I love how Michael McKean is playing this. I mean, you can just kind of see he's losing it, you know, and the way he just puts so much into his face and his expressions and the way he holds his jaw even. But I also love the way this show is produced, where he's staggering through the streets with the Mylar and the way that they light the neon, just make it so oppressive and intense, like radiating all the awful electricity things. And you know, it's such a POV for him, and they don't overdo it, but it's just they just goose it enough to really like bring that home. So I loved that.
It's such a dynamic contrast for when Howard is over and he, you know, brings out the Macallan 66, and you see, you know, Chuck like sifting it and sniffing it, and you get a glimpse of what Chuck must have been like before all of this, before the breakdown started to happen. And you see that, you know, you see the sense of clarity in him, and then just to go to the neon like scene out there, and I'm like, man, like it's so good. I can't even say like, here's my word for it. It's just damn good television.
They've got the Macallan scene, and meanwhile you've got Jimmy and Kim having champagne out of coffee mugs.
Which, have we brought this up before? Because I just noticed that with them sitting in front of like the mountains, it looks like a W and M, like Wexler and McGill. I never noticed that about the painting behind them. Yeah,
I didn't get that.
Yeah, I just got that this time because the scene was so perfectly framed.
Yes, no, that's a good catch. Yeah, and I hadn't really noticed that Ann Cusack is playing the ex-wife, who is the other Cusack sibling.
Oh my God.
Sister of Joan and John.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's great, and how she makes Jimmy feel guilty about the champagne and about them celebrating, because I mean he did bring her there under false circumstances, you know.
But I think he's just done. I mean, at what point do you have to say, I'm done, I can't continue this anymore because it's unhealthy for me and him?
Yeah, there's a really weird spiral of like, you know, Jimmy fucks up and Chuck gets him out of trouble, and Chuck resents Jimmy, and Jimmy feels like he owes Chuck something, and then at some point that both of those spirals reach this breaking point, and so now we're at like, I think you're right. Jimmy's done, and Chuck's not going to let it go until he can just completely crush him.
Which it makes me wonder if the rest of during Breaking Bad, Chuck's just in a mental institution.
I keep waiting for him to snap, and it's like I don't want to lose Michael McKean from this show, but that character doesn't seem to have a lot of paths left in terms of his own stability. You know,
that's fine. I hate Chuck. He does such a good job of making me hate him. Also, so in the way of like, let's introduce like a bunch of new characters or cameos. We got a Lydia scene with Gus. It was like so that's the laundry facility that Gus ultimately.
Oh right, yes, I love that whole tour of like this could work.
This could work.
Oh yes, I always think of her as Stevia. That's what I never remember her name. It's like, oh, Stevia's back.
Yeah, so Gus is touring what becomes the laundry facility, where I think that's where he ends up keeping Walt and Jesse.
Right, that's where the Fly episode happens.
Which is, for some reason, I thought that was in Mexico and not. I thought the facility was in Mexico and not New Mexico.
Oh yeah,
I was wrong. And then he goes back to the car and there's Lydia. I didn't recognize her at first. I was like, and I had to like IMDb. I was like, oh my God, it's Lydia.
Oh, I know. I was gonna be like, Stevia.
I just, she was so good. She's just aged enough for me that looked a little different, but she's.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing about prequels. It's like actors are getting older, but their characters are getting younger. And you have to sort of figure out how to balance that out. And obviously, if you were Gus Fring, you looked the same for 40 years. It doesn't matter. But for Uncle Hector, for instance, that's
they did a good job though with making him look a little bit younger, because they did such a good job of making him look old and decrepit and breaking.
Oh totally. It's probably just what this guy looks like, and he's just like, oh, when you're not ringing a bell in a wheelchair, you still have your facilities.
Exactly. Well, and then I'm realizing now, like Hector knows English, which makes so much sense as to that scene with Walt and Jesse when Tuco brings him back, and like Hector's trying to warn Tuco about like what they were plotting, and like because
that's right, because they assumed that he didn't
know English, so that was a nice little. I was like, oh yeah.
So a nice little episode. Are we leaving out anything?
Star wipes.
I've never seen so many star wipes.
And I love the line of "Don't wear stripes, you'll more." So it's like, because for in television, like you have to be really careful about the patterns and colors you wear when you're on camera. And like one of the worst things to do is like wear really tiny stripes, because you get that like the little zebra pattern. So I love that. That was nice.
I love the whole scene where he is trying to sell the carpet people. And it's like, no, like in 45 minutes, we're gonna make a commercial. It's like he's so good at it, and they're so kind of buying into it, and then finally they're like, no, this is ridiculous.
It was good. It was a good action-packed episode.
No, absolutely, and some Kim moments. I mean, like all the things that you want, and and again, I think the episodes this season seem to lean very like it's all Gus and Hector or all Jimmy and Chuck, and this one kind of like here's a little this, here's a little that.
And we did get a little mic. The little mic and the reference about pouring concrete, like, oh, you know how to pour concrete, and I get the impression like his son had made up the story about him pouring the concrete for like the driveway, but that's just like, oh, well, I guess Mike does have a history of pouring concrete and putting people into concrete. So it's at some point I feel like it's almost a little too much like Easter eggs and nods to Breaking Bad, but I don't mind.
Sure,
I love it.
I mean, I think it strikes a balance in that if you could go into the show cold without having seen Breaking Bad, and there's nothing where you're thinking, like for example, I started doing Doctor Who just for What the Flick, and I came in really late. I mean, Capaldi is my first Doctor, and there's a lot of times where we'll come and do the recap, and like, okay, that was clearly a thing, and I don't know what that thing is. Please explain it to me. And this show, it's sort of like if you're in and you saw it and you know what they're talking about, haha, you get it.
Exactly.
But if you don't, it's just a passing reference. Oh, okay,
I kind of like compared it to like a lot of the DC movies where it's like you have to be like a DC fan to know all the inside stuff there. But then like Breaking Bad, and I think it was just a random reference I was making to my boyfriend, because I was like, he's like, oh, I should watch Breaking Bad before Better Call Saul. I'm like, no, in fact, watch Better Call Saul first, and being from New Mexico, I'm like, you'll just love it because you'll love all the imagery, and I'm like, he'll walk by and be like, oh, that's that place. I'm like, cool.
Well, and in the same way, I think if you were to watch this show first and then watch Breaking Bad, the Easter eggs would just become they would be reverse Easter eggs that pay off later in the other way. Like, oh yeah, that's a thing. And
I know, which I'm really looking forward to. I think when Better Call Saul wraps, I'm gonna go and watch all of Breaking Bad so I can see that. So yeah.
All right, so this show, this show. All right, how many more this season? Is it 10 or 12?
I never know with AMC because they'll go 10 or 12.
Right.
So we'll see.
We don't know. You know, and you'll tell us in the comments.
I know the next week is not the end.
All right, we'll be back. Thanks.